Okay, I am picking it up. It's the 30th yet. Maybe a half hour later from where I just left off. Well, you would know. Maybe it wasn't a half an hour. I don't know. Maybe it was a little less. But what I was doing. Well, let me set this up. This field right here is probably 150 wide and about 400 or 500 long. 400. And this field, those of you that have been here for events and stuff, this is where we've set up the big tent and things like that. Haven't set up big tents in a while, and we have a better area up by the barn there anyway. So now this is the poultry field. We call this the poultry field. So this is where we're going to raise out all of our chickens for the year. And this is where I'm at. I have a load in the brooder right there, a load of, I think, 200. And we just processed a bunch of these ones. This was last Friday we processed them. I think we did 50 of them. So there should be another 100 of them left. And so what I'm going to do, they're pretty big. We're going to let them all out. And I had to mow this because if you let them out, they kind of get lost in the tall grass. They're not used to it, and they're not the brightest animals on the farm, and they can get lost in there. And they need to have their water close, and they need to have their food close. So what we'll do is I'm going to prop these things up, and then we're going to scare them all out, and we're going to close it. And then we're going to put their food incrementally closer to this shelter right here. And there is several of them in there already, so it shouldn't be too tough. And then it will free up those tractors. Those are chicken tractors, and then I can move all these guys from the brooder and put them in there. Now at one time we had 30 of these chicken tractors going, and we used our clear span building as a brooder, so we did a lot of poultry here, a lot of pastured poultry at one time. But now we're just growing enough for our family and a few of our friends. So it's actually kind of nice because I can spend a little bit more time out here and make things a little nicer, a little bit more pleasing to be around. It's not just a go, 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 get it done, pick up all the dead ones and get rid of them. I lose a whole lot less because I can take more time and put more time into it. Now you're seeing a bunch of them are out. A lot of them got out when I was moving the tractors, and I will let out the rest of them. But this is the area that I mowed right here. And you can see just about all of it has been picked up. And there were 2 loads in the vac that I took up to the garden. And I think that'll fill in about a row of, walkway there. And then I have this much more to go, and I'll only take it as I need it. I got something else to do today, so I don't know how much more of that I'll do. And then over there, as I showed you on Saturday, I'll get kind of close, but I don't know much about this form of livestock here, is the bees. A buddy of mine, Josh, he's in the bee business, and he brought a whole bunch of these beehives over here, so they're right down there nestled in that they get a little shade sometimes, but you can see these are alfalfa fields here, and there's a lot of wildflowers out there, so the honey from these should be outstanding. And well, while I'm on that subject, I didn't really like honey. I think I told you that. Those little bears that you get, and who knows where that honey comes. I don't even know if it is honey, but when I tried it, I didn't really like it. And we'd have it, and it would stay in the cupboard forever. But then when Josh brought this honey over, there must be something in it that I need, because I've started to like it and actually crave it. I'm not putting any sugar in my coffee anymore. I'm just putting honey in it, and I load it up, make it sweet, and it's good. I really like it. I don't think I get that that crash you get in about mid-morning when you've all amped up on coffee and sugar, and then you just kind of have a crash or a freak out. That hadn't been happening. So I'm going to stick with the honey. Okay, the next project here is going to be, and I am going to try this today because I'm hooked up, but what I wanted to do with this machine, one of the things that I want to do with this machine, I want to lay a bunch of bread out here, day-old bread. I have piles and piles of it. and when I think when I mow it, I think I'll pick it up and it will cut off a little bit of grass as well, and it will break it all up, and I'm thinking it's going to make a nice feed for my laying chickens. And what's this? Storage full. Great. And I think that, you know, I might be able to get a little bit more feed value out of what I'm taking off of here than just, you know, walkway material for the garden. That's what I meant. And I think that'll be my first experiment, but let's see where it could go from there. A lot of times you unlock your mind and you never know where it will go. Which brings me to my next point. Making videos live, the risk is always there that you could say something or do something stupid. And so it's there, kind of story of my life. I've done it many times, and but it's there, and it's a risk that I'm taking, and I'm going to stay with it. But the point of this whole thing is, as I alluded to before, this is the process. This is just the mountaintops of the process. The Anyone Can Farm Homesteaders Guild program will be starting shortly. And we've picked a launch date of September 1st. So I should have a page by the end of the week where if a person wants to take this course, I'll call it a course, there's going to be 12 different weeks where you'll be added to a page where you can go there and you can watch a video that I've made about a certain situation, about a certain... it's a guide service. I'm going to be guiding you on your homestead adventure. And then we'll have a live meeting later on in the week after you've had time to implement what I've suggested that you do. And so I think the video will probably be on like a Thursday, and then the chat or the correspondence, I guess, where, you know, I'll be sitting at my desk, and my wife does this with her Ayurveda class. The instructor is in the middle, and then there's all these little pictures around us, and you can talk to me about it, and then there'll be conversation about, you know, the things that I've instructed on. And as I tried to point out, this is like a guide service. You know, it's like I can't write a book on how to homestead. All I can do, just like I can't write a book on how to shoot an elk, but I can take you to a good spot, and I can show you how to set your tent up. I can show you how to keep yourself out of trouble. And, you know, you get what I'm saying, but I can't really write a book on how to shoot a deer because there's so many things involved with it. But if you go on a guided elk hunt, the next year you don't need a guide because they've shown you how to do it. They've guided you through it. So the Homesteaders Guild is going to be kind of a guide service to go through this. And I am not going to be the final word because we're going to have many people that are involved in this at the same time. It'll be a closed group, and a lot of information will change hands. And this is all really very good information. This is what we used to talk about down at the coffee shop, but I don't think we even go to the coffee shop anymore. Some of the stuff is stuff that your grandparents would tell you about when you stayed at their farm for the summer, type of thing. So I think this is very good, and I think it's a very deep subject because there is so much that happens here on a daily basis, and so much more that could happen on a daily basis. But our hands are full. We're eating good. We're living our lives. We're in a good environment. You know, another thing is a lot of folks now are changing their lifestyle because the food that they've been eating and the lifestyle that they've been leading has led to fatigue and chronic problems. I don't need to go through them. So actually my nephew is the one that got me interested in this, because he provides a service to help people change their lifestyle. But it's sort of like if you quit buying crummy food from the convenience store and putting it in your mouth and eating it and calling that your nutrition. If you quit doing that, don't go hang around in the convenience store. So that's what homesteading is about. Now, if you've made some changes, what you probably want to think about doing is start to create your own food. And I'm not saying that you have to have a cow in your yard or pigs or anything like that. You could. Some people will deep dive like that. But the connection between the earth and you needs to be made. And that can be made with a 5-gallon bucket with some tomato plants in it if you live in Manhattan, you know. Or it could be made, you know, by having a few chickens in your backyard. Lots of places will let you do that. I really hate to say it, let you have chickens. How can they tell you can't have? But anyway, and that's what I plan to go through and touch on in a deep way, so that, you know, when you consider doing this, you're not going into the mountains to shoot an elk without a tent, you know. You're embarking on something, and you're going to have the tools to make it so you don't just throw your tools down and walk away from it. You won't be able to do that. Plus, it's a support network that you'll be able to plug into for the rest of the life of the program. But once you pay into it one time, the first class, you all are going to be guinea pigs for me. So it's going to cost you $299 for 12 weeks. And after that, it's going to, you know, I'm sure it's going to be wildly successful. So there'll be quite an increase. This is an introductory deal. But as we have thought this through, this is really something that needs to be done. And so we're going to do it. Okay, I'll be coming back at you whenever. Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Remember, anyone can farm.